and welcome to Legally Speaking with me, Tarun Nagia. On the occasion in the eve of the World Environment Day, we thought why not discuss the sort of very important issues facing the environment in the country. You remember recently we discussed the urban heat island effect, which means due to a lot of concrete and buildings, how uh, certain areas in the city are much more hotter than many other areas. I have with me Advocate Sudhir Mishra, an environmental lawyer, and who's also written a book on the subject, on which also we will speak for a bit, where he sort of chronicled the 75 most important judgments of our courts on the issue of law. Good to see you, Mr. Mishra, again, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tarun. Thank you for bringing me back.
In fact, last time what we did was so very well received by people across India, what you spoke on the urban heat island effect. This time, I want to start with the issue of rivers. And
Yeah.
if you see that the governments in states have spent thousands of crores on making what they call the WTP, which is a water treatment plant, and what they say is a STP, which is a sewage treatment plant. So the input water is good quality, and the water which is even sort of released in the river is treated before releasing.
Yeah.
But even then, we see that the condition of, for example, in Delhi, say Yamuna, is as bad as ever. Uh, Now, some people say that all water is not being treated, but I think you're the right person to answer. Why? I mean, you travel so much to London, and you always tell me that when you see those cities in Europe and you see our cities, you feel pity that uh, how badly we've treated our rivers. And even when those people come to India, what they would be thinking about us as a country, uh, and a country that worships its rivers as God.
This is, yeah.
Yes. So over to you for your
Yeah,
analysis.
Tarun, this is actually, I respect my country, and I know you also respect this country so much. In this month of June, when most of the Delhi legal fraternities in London, we both are doing a show about Environment Day. So that speaks about our love for the country and for the city. But having said that, the real problem is our prioritization. Are we really keen that we respect our water bodies as God and goddesses as we proclaim it to be? I don't think that happening on the ground, and especially worrying in the situation in last 10, 15 years, because your population pressure, which was almost has doubled in last 11, 12 years in Delhi, close to 3 crore population if you combine the national capital region cities too in the entire fold. And your processing capacity of sewage which goes to the river Yamuna is not beyond 40 to 50%. And that's your installed capacity. So you are deprived of the full capacity despite Supreme Court's order on a weekly basis that when will you have the capacity addition, when will we have sufficient effluent treatment plant. And I know we are doing it not as a ritual on World Environment Day, where we are talking about these burning issues. But my own feeling is that the time has come now where environment is something which will be mainstreamed by the political class which rules our country and the corporates. I will also remind you, you were discussing with me that you have seen NGT so active on this quality of water, drinking water. They have been in last 4 weeks, they have passed series of orders against municipal corporations, where they have said that what is happening to the drinking water which people are getting in their household. Government has a huge success in giving piped water to most of the household, which had never happened since independence. What has happened in last 20 years, last 10 years, unremarkable achievement. But the quality of water which you get in your pipes, which you are supposed to drink, has deteriorated considerably. It is natural because your rivers are respected, worshipped, but not protected.
But you said it so beautifully that rivers are worshipped but not protected or taken care of. And I'll now shift to the next issue, which is the recent fire in Delhi, where
Yeah.
a chartered accountant and his entire family lost their lives. They were because there was a fire, and even the fire brigade couldn't sort of get inside. Uh, what is, I mean, who is responsible for these kind of incidents which lead to losses of precious lives?
Tarun, just take our extension of our last episode together when we talked about the heating and the extension of the urban heat centers in Delhi. Delhi in the month of April and May was heated like never before. We are like a thermal corridor in the entire North India. And now you are getting the answers in this episode when you are talking, because such incident of fire has happened day before yesterday. And before that, also malfunctioning of wires, and otherwise we lost a very senior ex-competition commission chairman also in one of the fire incident only. It's a fire incident. You know what is happening? The city has not got the carrying capacity which it is expected to have. You go to Mahipalpur, you go to the entire Mayapuri areas, you go to near the airport, and you go to these hospitals which are like hub of medical tourism. Tarun, all these hotels which have been made where they were supposed to have 5 rooms for bread and breakfast have converted into 15 rooms or 20 rooms without even having a system where a fire brigade can go in a distress. It speaks about the kind of collapse which has happened in our municipal infrastructure. And you can jail one individual who owns the property, or you will still chase the managers and the other people. But you will have to book people from the licensing authorities who are directly responsible and who are monitoring this entire thing. And this is not about any political blame game on this issue. Your carrying capacity of the city is not there. You cannot have these makeshift hotels just because you need that kind of medical tourism or you need that kind of patient thing. Because when the fire brigades came, even they had a difficulty in reaching on time to the entire area. It's a big challenge. And in order to stop that, it will not happen in future. We'll have to relook to this whole commercialization of the South Delhi, which is happening, which we spoke in detail on the last episode. That you go to any place, you just take out your car from the defense colony and go right up to Oberoi. The entire left stretch on the main road is a commercial hub now. So whosoever decided about this great idea that residential buildings will be all converted into commercial building, we have to stop it somewhere. If we want not these whole heating to happen, then we'll have to stop somewhere.
Mr. Mishra, one thing I want to ask you, that in many cities in India also, there is a certain rule that the sanctity of residential areas is always maintained.
Exactly.
Not even one room can be converted into a shop, because
Right.
a residential area is a residential area.
Right.
But do you think that we lost the plot somewhere around the way?
Yes. So I am very happy that the residential area character of Lutyens zone is intact. When you say that when you come beyond Meherchand market and then go right up to the airport, everything is commercial. So there are two capital cities now. Much like what used to be the case in 1920s and 30s, there was a New Delhi and there was a Old Delhi. Now you have this kind of system. Tell me, have you seen any commercial structures in Golf Links or in
No.
Johor or in Bengali market? No, it hasn't happened. So why it is happening in the whole of South Delhi? So whosoever had designed it, I'm not a town planner, I'm not an expert. I'm only saying that if you take 30 minutes to get out of one residential colony,
A residential colony.
residential colony, then in any kind of stress, how will you respond to that situation in future?
In fact, now that brings me to my fourth question, which is, now you've written a book tracking 75 important judgments of court on environment. In fact, what I also want to sort of ask you is that the courts are forced to intervene when the governance fails. What is your analysis about courts' intervention into administrative issues related to environment?
I'll just take you beyond environment. There is a very interesting judgment which came a few days back. Justice Nasimha's bench passed it in the Supreme Court about a mall in Vasi near Mumbai which has been saved. It was supposed to go down because it had flouted some laws, but they said more rights have been created now, and all those original mistakes which have happened can't take away the rights of the people who came subsequently in the picture. Now, that is the way the courts are being approached, that all the mistakes are pointed out, public interest litigations are filed. For environment, you go to the court. For climate change, you go to the court. For the river protection, you go to the court. For air pollution, you go to the court. And then really they provide a nudge to the government. I'll just give you one example. Tarun, we did a show about the dust in Delhi long back. Now, at least Delhi Pollution Control Committee is one of the first pollution control board, something good which has happened from the government side, where they have said that construction will happen in a regulated way so that the dust can be reduced in Delhi. And this is directly the result of the kind of shows you do or the kind of activism which happens in the Supreme Court and the NGT and the High Court. So if that is the net result of saving your environment, not just token presence on 5th of June every year, where we just come out with some kind of green statement. The real action is, are you keen to save your trees? You are keen to save your Aravalis? Are you going to do a Chipko Andolan to save the Aravalis? Will you save the rich the way Chipko Andolan saved the trees? Then only your city will survive. Now this is neck to neck. This is person to person. You cannot do slogans only. That won't suffice the purpose.
You made a very good statement. You can't only do slogans. I want to ask you two follow-up questions. One is that they say that if you go to check buildings in Delhi, lakhs of buildings won't clear a fire certificate.
Yeah.
They are designed in fact, I remember recently when Khan Market restaurants were permitted, I said it's good because we've been visiting this market since childhood. And one of the, High Court judges, family members told me, Tarun, I would never step into any restaurant in that market. I said, ma'am, why would you not? They say, if you ever study, what is a fire safety plan, um, you're certain to die if there is a fire. I mean, there is a large chance that you will die. So, you presume that nothing will happen to you and go, but absolutely no rules are followed across Delhi. Do you think that this is a ticking time bomb? I also came across one very interesting anecdote on X, which was earlier Twitter, where someone mentioned that people die in wars in 30s, 40s, and 50s. I mean, I'm talking the number of people dying. And India, they die in one accident here, one accident there, 10 people dead in one fire, 5 people dead in another fire in Noida, another 20 people. Why I'm asking you this is that do you think we sort of disregard lives as a whole?
Yeah.
I mean, people can keep.
So, yeah, I think, Tarun, basically, this is not only the government's fault. This is not only the society's fault. It comes to the individual. We really don't take our lives seriously, and we take things for granted, and we always have this notion it will not happen to me. Having said that, the kind of construction which is happening in small areas now, which you talked about, congested areas, and the false ceiling and the kind of grilling which happens, there is a apparently some PIL has been filed in Delhi High Court that it should not be allowed a particular kind of grills because grills also stop you from going out in the time of distress. You can't jump out of the window or a small first floor or something. So most of them have been packed in a manner that it becomes a packed house. Now, your fire safety, again, when we talk about Delhi, I think some movement is happening where you need centralized agencies for all these things. You need to find out whether if you have in even and when we say Delhi, let's take the entire national capital region. In Gurgaon or in Noida, if you are making or allowing 30-story buildings, are you sure that the fire brigade has the capacity to go to the 30th floor? Because it should not be the case that there is a fire at the 19th floor and your fire brigade can't reach beyond ninth floor. So
In,
these are the challenges you have to
in
now
fact,
figure out.
in fact, Mr. Mishra, one comment again on X I read, which said that in one of the buildings where the fire was there and the fire brigade couldn't reach, only the residents of that building cumulatively have paid more taxes. That one building could afford many such tankers which could reach even the top of the building. So
Right.
much taxes the government is getting, but the people are not getting the facilities. Do you think that sort of frustrates a lot of people who take these houses and expect a certain kind of service from their municipalities?
At the first instance, I feel that the more and more if you see, and this is a very worrying phenomena, when you talked about these large semi-township kind of apartment culture, which is there in National Capital Region, it started with Gurgaon being replicated in Faridabad, Sonipat, and Noida and Greater Noida. The idea is that you are creating an island out of chaos. You are creating an island out of chaos because you want a regulated, regimented, protected life.
No,
That's
but is
the
it
whole
because the
idea.
municipalities failed
The
those?
municipalities, if you see these 100 crore apartments in Gurgaon, or now apparently 150 crore apartments in Gurgaon, or 40 crore apartments in Gurgaon, the idea is that you want to create your own municipal systems, your own safety net, your own entire culture, where you are not dependent upon any state infrastructure. Your eyes only sees glitter and whatever you want to see. Now that's how we are going in that direction. So who will talk about the public spaces? the open spaces, and all these things. Whose job is that? Like we spoke that in Singapore there is a parks authority whose job is to protect each and every tree. You can't touch a tree, but their job is not to protect the trees. Their job is also to say to the balconies of every new apartment culture coming that how many balconies will have these plants. We will
But
have to
but
explore all of that.
but one thing, you may have a maybe 40, 50 crore apartment and an enclave, but you'll have to breathe the same air. And that brings me to the next
Exactly.
question.
Exactly.
Delhi has an air problem. In fact, it is a shame when a lot of diplomats are constrained to say that they want to have a transfer outside India because their health is getting affected. Imagine what messages they are carrying to other countries where they go that they left India because the air is of bad quality. Uh,
That is
Also,
there.
children
That
as young as 4, 5 are developing asthma. Uh, what do you feel? Where are we failing?
So I would say that because it's a signature day, that's why I applaud you for doing this show. I think air pollution, we are making few movements in national capital region. Because I'm part of few discussion groups and I can see that accountability for dust, which was a major reason. That's why I mentioned that DPCC has done some good work in that. And they are insisting that if a construction is happening, even in a small area, the dust has to be controlled in a particular manner. It's not just a eye wash kind of stuff. Same thing is sweeping of the road in a particular way. Their timing and everything is being done, being organized in a better manner. But the larger problem of vehicles needs to be addressed, and the green buses which needs to come on time now. These are the things which are happening. You cannot actually take your eyes away from reality that 65% of the cities which are most polluted in the world out of top 100 are from India. So it's not a Delhi problem. It's not even an NCR problem. Even Mumbai is now battling air pollution. Again, they will have to look after their entire construction industry. How much regulation is required to do it in a very green manner? Green accountability is key for those kind of construction. So I would say that whether it's your rivers to be protected, when you still cross Yamuna, and I'll say that on each and every show, Tarun, you cross Yamuna and slow down your vehicle just before the MCD green tax barrier. I call it MCD green tax barrier because Supreme Court said them to remove them. They said that please consider it removing them and create a system by which you don't put these vehicles at a halt, which creates more air pollution. And that way you will reduce the pollution burden. But they haven't removed till now. I hope they do it at the earliest possible. But if you slow down your vehicle on Yamuna, you will still find four costly vehicles running up to 75 lakhs, 1 crore, climbing the railing, and two guards stopping them, please don't dump something in the river Yamuna. Still, they will dump in the river. How will you stop that? And that no government can stop. That's our own habit, our own religious practice that I will take everything in a polythene, I will put it in Ma Yamuna. Now, that is where our fundamental deconstruct has to happen, Tarun.
In fact, one thing I want to get you to is that there was a huge protest in Rajasthan, Haryana, and Delhi on saving the Aravalis.
Yeah.
And it will lead to the desert climate reaching Delhi. Already it is.
Yeah.
Sandstorms in Delhi. And also, they say there is a huge fear that groundwater depletion may happen on a large scale. And Delhi will become an extended desert literally if the Aravalis are flattened because it is the barrier of between the desert of Rajasthan or the Thar desert and the NCR. Do you think anything is happening on that?
I think Aravalis will be protected because Supreme Court has come back in a very determined manner. Just before the vacations, also they have created a committee which has got the most eminent people, and we all are keeping a very close watch. That's why I'm saying that from my point of view and from every children who is breathing air in from Alwar to Gurgaon to Noida to Delhi, the part of the Delhi range and the part of the Aravalis, they all are part of one ecosystem. They have a right to protect each and every shrub, each and every tree, each and every mountain, and that is something which is our fundamental right. And our right to breathe, right to save ourselves from the desert storm, which will come more occasionally than it is happening now. And there is no two ways about it. But on a lighter side, it will be a very big eyesore for all the people staying in these 100 crore apartment who look at the Aravalis from distance and applaud it and love it. I hope they also come for the rescue of Aravalis.
But I want to ask you something about your tree plantation in Delhi, because in the recent past, we've seen for government or private projects, thousands of trees have been allowed to be cut. That is a direct impact on temperature in Delhi. Do you think some thought should be given to, tokenism while planting trees and cutting them, en masse?
So, Tarun, I'll just correct it here. Basically, courts have come as a big diwar between the tree transplantation or tree felling and any developmental work. Delhi High Court has shown unbelievable spine there, where they have got a tree bench now, which stops each and every project, whether it's a public project or a private project, it's a tree in front of your house, or it is stopping a critical flyway or a flyover. They have always asked for 100 reasons before they allowed a transplantation. I won't use the word felling, I'll say transplantation of a tree. I would say this is a signature. And if you will have your way, and knowing your stature in the legal journalism, I'll say, please convince one lawyer in every state to go and ask for a high court to have a tree bench now. In every high court, we should have a tree bench. Because if you have trees, and we are in fact doing a show today with SILF, Dr. Lalit Basi is doing today, where we are saying, like Prime Minister said, Ek ped maa ke naam. Today we are doing Ek gana ped ke naam in the evening. The idea is that tree is your one fundamental first line of defense. So you have to protect the tree if you want to stop yourself from ecological degradation.
Correct, correct. One last answer I want from you on, see, earlier the rich people used to travel abroad and they had their own little circles in which news used to travel. In the past 20 years, lower middle class and middle class people have been traveling in Southeast Asian countries. They see that countries poorer than India have better infrastructure. Their roads are neat and clean. Their garbage disposal system works. Of late, even videos of Indian tourists from Sri Lanka I have seen on X saying that a lot more foreign tourists are seen in Sri Lanka because it's neat and clean. I mean, this is such a basic expectation for a tourist. Do you think that some national level campaign would have to be run to ensure that our garbage disposal and our cleanliness is maintained?
I think Delhi takes the cake in mismanagement on the garbage and not looking very nice and clean. It looks quite dirty as a capital city. And that's a problem. And that's why your signature capitals, if Bangalore looks crowded and always full of traffic jam, or Mumbai has air pollution today, or Delhi looks dirty, if we use the word, it's a signature for you, because that's the first impression. Or you go to Rajasthan or Agra, if you don't find it very exciting, appealing to your eyes, the roads and the garbage collection, then it's a problem. But you have examples, Tarun, within your country. You go to Sikkim, you see that there nobody tries to jump the red line. Nobody tries to jump the queue. And they are plastic free. You go to Indore, they have still managed to do the clean city. They have few issues with their water, but cleanliness part, they have cracked it. There are dozens of cities which are working. I would say what the government should do, take out the list of 10 best cities which are like Indore. Like the moment you say cleanest city, just Google Indore's name pops up. Noida is very clean, I will say. You will agree that they are doing a lot of work on that. So there are examples near us. And I'm telling you, brand India will come back if we start prioritizing these aspects, the soft infrastructure part. When we used to sell very well the tiger story, that the tiger is an indicator species of our environment, and we have saved the tiger for the world. And people used to come and visit these tiger reserves and stay for weeks and months. So same way, our urban cities, especially Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, our rivers need to look neat and clean. Our city infrastructure has to be upgraded, and then the tourist will be back.
You said it very well. We will wait for the day when these things, because I think foreign tourist arrivals have come down, and it's a matter of worry for us because they get us foreign exchange.
Correct.
And Prime Minister Modi long ago also said that India can be the number one in tourism in the world because we've got every kind of climate, from the snowy mountains to the typical Western forests, which is ecological heritage. But I think that issue is for another day. I'd like to thank that you made time on
Thank
such an important issue and
thank you.
get a lot of support on the environment shows we do. And maybe we continue doing all this. And best of luck to you for your book on the
Thank you.
75 most important judgments on environment by our courts.
Just to say, Tarun, the book is not for lawyers and for the judges. The book is for a class 9th student and a 90-year-old person to know what our Supreme Court has achieved in last 75 years for saving our ecological sovereignty. That is what I'll say.
Beautifully put. And maybe we'll take up a chapter or two and do a show soon on that. And
Yeah.
thank you and best of luck for your book. Thank you.
Thank you, Tarun. Thank you.